Welcome to the part 10 of this video series. In this video series, we are looking at Azure DP300 certification related exam questions. Now, these are very much near to real exam questions. So please focus on the concepts. Chances of getting similar questions is very high, but you should focus on the concepts. Please subscribe to my channel and like my videos. If you have seen the other videos in this channel, the focus is to explain in a very simple manner how these concepts differ and how to arrive at the right answers. So even if you have not gone through any courses, you can still manage to pass this exam if you go through my videos. So in this question, so if you want to refer previous questions 1 to 42, you can refer the previous parts 1 to 9 of this video series. Let's understand the story of this question. So here this question is talking about you have a database, you have a table, you have a column called salary, okay, and users are accessing this salary. So usually what happens is we encrypt this column because you don't want everyone who has access to this table to see anybody's salary. So we encrypt this, but even after encryption, sometimes the database administrators can see it. Now this question says is even the database administrator should not be able to see anybody's salary. So why we do that? Because imagine you are a database administrator and now you can see your peer's salary and you constantly go and bug your manager stating that that person gets more salary than me and so on. Second, the problem happens is I don't even know that somebody is accessing my salary. Third, now if this guy is really corrupt, he can take a dump of it, put it in an Excel sheet and misuse that data. So we don't want any of such scenarios to happen. So we prevent this access. So the question is also asking that prevent this access to database administrators also. And you must provide more secure encryption. Encryption should be very secure. So first let's look at the answer. When you must have already seen it when I started this question. So this is what we do. Okay, these are the 3 steps in sequence, but let's also look at the other options. So when you are trying to decode the answer, you have to go one by one. In the exam it will happen this way. So encrypt the salary column by using randomized encryption type. So this is there are 2 types. One is where you have or you already know the encryption type. The encryption type is prefixed. So randomized we want to use because nobody should be able to guess, even the application should not be able to guess the encryption key. And since it says you have to use most secure encryption, this looks correct. Second says create a column encryption key. Yes, you will have to create a column encryption key. So if you have this column, you will have to create a encryption key for the column, because you are not going to encrypt the entire table, you are not going to encrypt the entire database, you are only encrypting this column. That's why this is needed. The third says transparent data encryption. So this is used for encrypting database at rest. So here the requirement is just the salary key. You don't want to encrypt this database. If you want to encrypt this entire database, you can use TDE. That will encrypt the data at rest. That means when the data is saved here, stored here, that is encrypted. If you fire select queries, if you don't have access, you cannot see the data. The entire data is encrypted. This one says encrypt salary using deterministic encryption key. See, randomized is safer than deterministic. When we use deterministic, as a thumb rule, you always remember, deterministic encryption key, if you have two tables, see this table, if you want to join with one more table here, and if your keys, primary keys, for example employee ID etc., are encrypted, then you used deterministic encryption key, because otherwise the joins won't work if you don't use deterministic. But if you have such scenarios where the join is not happening but someone will access it via select queries, randomized is the safest, because that user cannot even guess if the same key will be generated or not. That is how it is safe. So this is wrong, this is wrong. Now it says apply a dynamic mask to the salary column. See, many times this option confuses people. See, the question is saying you must altogether prevent the DBS from reading the salary column at all. That means he cannot read even one digit. Dynamic mask, why it is used? You remember, you have dynamic mask like credit card. So everything is masked except last 4 digits, because that guy is going to read it and at least last 4 digits will be visible. But here it says you should totally prevent. So masking is not a solution for such scenarios. So these 3 are wrong. So that leaves us with 3 options, 1, 2 and 3. So create a column master key. So this is needed, and the sequence will be this way. You first create a master key. You always create master key first, then you create a column encryption key, and then encrypt the salary column using the randomized encryption key. This key what you have used, you encrypt this column using this. This is the sequence. See, this question now is again a encryption key related question. See, in the previous question I was explaining, if you have 2 tables and you have 1 column and you have to join and that has to be encrypted, what to do? It's the same question. So the story goes this way. You have 2 tables, okay, you have a database. You don't focus on that, you just consider you have 2 tables and you are joining these 2 tables by column 1. So you need to protect the contents of column 1 at rest, in transit, in use, because from your app, this app can be your mobile app or it can be your website. Okay, so the access is happening through column 1. So column 1 has to be encrypted, that's for sure, because it's saying your content should be protected at rest, in transit. So that means you have to apply encryption at rest, encryption in transit. Okay, so how should you protect? These are the options. So if you see this first, let's tackle this first, encryption key. So here if we see the options, first is column encryption key. Here we need column encryption, we don't need database encryption, because we are just talking about one column being encrypted, that is column 1 being encrypted. So database encryption key and service master key will not work here. For this portion encryption type, since we have to join on column 1, so like I explained earlier, deterministic will be more apt here, because randomized will generate random keys which will be difficult to join. Here our requirement is table 1 and table 2 should be joined on column 1. If this is encrypted using randomized keys, then it will be difficult to join. So for joining, always used deterministic, and TDE will encrypt whole database. We are just talking about one field, so TDE is of no use. Hence this is our answer. So here if we try to understand the question, in this question we have our database and we have a user app1. We have to create a user app1, and whatever username, password or credentials you have created and which is used by this user to access this database, the same should work for other databases also for that user, like if they want to access B or C. So here the answer is straightforward. You first have a master database, okay, and you create a login app1 with password, whatever password you have to give. Then on database A, we can create user app1 from that login, and then we alter the role on this database A so that they can be added to the DB data reader. So whenever you see external provider, there should be Active Directory in the question. There is no Active Directory, so it is a no-brainer. We straight away eliminate this answer. And in this SQL Server construct, we always remember we create a master database first, and that's why we have to create a login for the master database, and then we create a user in the database A. That is the protocol. Always master database has to be there. That's for sure. So this should be the final answer. So why we create this login, this one master database password? Because the question says that same credentials should be used to access other databases. So we create it at a master database level and then use it for database A. We can use it for database B and C as well. That's why this process is followed. And why we add this to a data reader group? Because the question says that you need to grant DB data center permissions, and since the question says app1 will use SQL Server authentication, that means there is no Active Directory authentication. That's why external provider is of no use. So in this question we will see that you have a VM and you are allocating to 1 terabyte storage of 5000 IOPS. Okay, so it goes like this. This is a story. You have a VM and you have allocated these IOPS like 1 terabyte and 5k IOPS premium storage disk. So these are disks, premium storage disk. Okay, and now what you have to do is, you already have SQL Server database. You have to put it on the VM, and this is of size 1.2 terabytes or TIB database. So now what we have to do is, in order to for this to get in here, we will need both combined. So the question says is we need to configure the virtual machine to support the database. Now if you see, this database requires 10,000 IOPS, which is a combination of this. If we have these two premium storage, 5k and 5k together, we will need it. So whenever we need together, we have to go for striping. So if you see here, virtual disk that uses stripe layout, that is right. This we will use because we will have to stripe. Stripe means you have multiple storage devices and you are striping to make it aggregate, so that 5000 plus 5000 can make it 10,000. So you see here, right, this 5000 plus 5000 should support 10,000. So if you have to do that, you will have to do stripe. Mirror layout is not useful here and simple layout is not useful here, because here you have to aggregate. Stripe is the only one which will aggregate it. And since mirror layout and simple layout is out of question, volume and storage, since we have to choose 3, so we already got our 3 answers. But let's check the sequence. So this should be the sequence. First you need to create a storage pool. What is a storage pool? Something like S3 or on Azure, it can be Azure storage. Now what it does is, how the external world will extract this data. That is what the storage pool. So that sits first. The second is a virtual disk that uses stripe layout, because whatever the volumes below are there, the virtual disk will do the striping. And then the bottom layer is a volume, because physically there is a volume, a disk, a volume. And so this virtual disk, so there will be a volume on top of it. Virtual disk will sit, which will do a striping, and it will make 5000 plus 5000 handle 10,000 IOPS. And on top of it there will be a storage pool. That is what helps for the outer world to interact with this data. So this is the answer. Let's move forward. So you have a SQL Server and this is your execution plan. This is what they have given, and the question is quizzing you around this. For each of these 3 options, we will have to mark yes or no. So here we see, you will reduce IO usage and query execution time if you force the query plan. Like we see here, there is only one query plan, and if you force this again, you will see the same statistics. You will not see a different statistics. So our first answer is no, because it will create no impact. It will neither reduce nor increase. It will keep it the same because there is only one plan. You will increase IO usage and query execution time if you create an index on sales order header table See, this is clearly no. You don't even need to understand the question. It's clearly no. Indexes, always remember, indexes will increase the execution time. Sorry, it will reduce the execution time. It will never increase the execution time, because indexes helps queries run faster. Okay, so here itself this is no. And other thing is, it is saying it will increase the IO usage. If you have an index, the IO usage will be reduced. Why? Because instead of, you imagine you have a full textbook, and if you go to index and you directly go to that chapter, but if you don't have the index, you will scan through the entire book, all the pages. So all pages scanning means extra IO. Even when you are reading, your eyes are reading, your brain is compiling, this is an extra IO for you. So similar to that, here indexes will clearly reduce the IO, because it will point you to the right rows directly without doing a full table scan. So this is no. And now you will reduce the IO usage and query execution time if you include these fields in the index. Yes, like I explained earlier, your query execution time will reduce if you add certain fields in the index, like freight and additional columns, tax amount. The second thing that will happen is it will reduce the IO usage, because it will, you don't have to do a full table scan. You can directly go to that record directly. So this is the right answer or answers for these three options. So this brings us to the fag end of this video. So subscribe to my channel and like my videos. If you have any constructive comments, or if you have appreciations, please drop in your comments, because that motivates me.